Hi guys, welcome back to another Skyblock episode. So in the last one we built this huge cactus from void to sky limit that produces about 12,500 cacti per hour. And I already explained in the last episode what we can actually do with the cactus is make an XP bank. So just by smelting all of the cactus, we have a little XP farm that produces a steady 12,500 XP per hour. The only ingredient we need now in order to make this work, apart from the actual furnace array, is fuel. And yeah, we discussed it already and did some brainstorming last episode. The idea was to build a kelp farm and use the dried kelp blocks as a fuel source. So we have the auto crafting table. I don't need to craft those dried kelp blocks myself. Everything would be fully automatic. Alright, so let's head over to the creative world because there has been some development. So this was the state of the kelp farm in the last episode. I received a lot of good recommendations how to improve it. First one I really liked was, instead of using signs, to use the scaffolding block as a block that can be waterlogged so that items would float up inside. That doesn't have a collision box, except on the top, but that doesn't matter. It's actually good. The item can't sink down anymore. So this is actually really good. In case I would change the farm up now, I would definitely use the scaffolding instead of the signs. The only thing I would be slightly worried about is that there is like no side collision box. So we need to place like a scaffolding here, and we can sign here. So maybe some items would actually float to the side and would get lost here unless we maybe extend the whole water column by one on each side. So it would be just a little downside, but I think overall, I would prefer the scaffolding over the signs. Then the whole reason why we had the signs was to have a safety to not destroy the floating water here on top. Because if that's ever getting destroyed, then it's pretty much game over. So can I just show that? If you ever have a water source up there, even if you punch it out of a piston, the water flow doesn't regenerate itself like this. So yeah, so what can basically happen is the kelp grows, and then the next tick grows again, and then maybe the next tick again. And once the kelp grows into flowing water, it turns it into water source, which, well, if I place one down here, it's also not good, of course. But that basically breaks the whole farm over time. Another idea would be to make the water here above like 6 or 7 high, so even if the kelp grows every tick, it could never reach the flowing water, because after like 6 ticks of delay, the pistons would punch it out. But this would be a lot of extra effort to add a lot of water here on top. So also not gonna go for that. Another idea that I also really liked was to not actually use flowing water here on top to flush all the water or the items to the side, but to use allays for the item collection. So that would actually be the easiest. Then we just need a 2 high water, and then have the alloys picking up everything. Really like the idea, but a bit worried because we need a rather large farm, and it's in the area where we already have a lot of stuff. So like adding more entities now to collect items, maybe not even in the fastest way. It's probably also not the best idea. Definitely would work, but in the end, I'm not gonna go with that. Another thing that was suggested quite often was to make some sort of a V-shaped kelp farm. Basically have a kelp here, piston, then have an offset of 1, here the next kelp, then piston, kelp, and so on. Obviously like an offset of 1 block and 3 blocks higher to have the next kelp plant. So it would be like a V shape, but yeah, it would get rid of the issue of the kelp growing really quickly, but it's really space inefficient. So I need a rather large farm, and building a huge farm that isn't space efficient is definitely not an option. So in the end, I decided to rethink the concept somewhat and go for a bit of a different layout. So that's what I came up with. We only have 2 high water, and we got a water source directly in front of the piston. So if the kelp grows, the water source definitely gets removed, but we got 2 water sources on the side, and it gets immediately regenerated. So all the items get pushed over, and in case sometimes it also would happen, they get stuck somehow, then the water just flushes in over against the wall, and it could drop down. So we could also mirror that and have the same setup on the other side, and basically 2 modules would share the wall here in the middle. Okay, there's just one issue. Gonna use the tick freeze real quick. What happens if two kelp grow at the same time? When we punch out 2 water sources, and then it wouldn't regenerate properly again. So this can become somewhat of an issue, because if this happens all over the place, then at some point all the water might even be removed. But there's also the thing that definitely the water source can be regenerated if the kelp just grows. Oh, I can't place it. It would need to grow on its own. But if it grows, then it takes 6 ticks because of the 3 observers. The one downwards facing, on the other side and one up. Then the water can even spread again. So in a way, it also self-repairs over time. But of course, if you're quite unlucky, then all the water sources here will be removed before anything gets repaired, and then nothing gets flushed to the middle anymore. So that's why I actually just tried it out to see what happens with this type of setup. So this was like the first try. This was like a 16 byte version, and it definitely happened. So as you can see here, that after several hours, too much of the water gets removed. And then, nothing can grow. That's the first thing that doesn't work anymore. And then even if you get some items, they wouldn't get flushed to the side anymore. But you can also see, we got a water source here on the side here of the stair. That flushes a lot of the water over. And even if you only have like I guess the lowest level of flowing water, the kelp can still grow in it. So it seemed like all I actually had to do is, just to make the module here, instead of 16 wide, 12 wide. And then at least we would always have flowing water, which definitely provides water to grow into for the kelp, and everything gets flushed to the side. So just make it 12 wide, and this should actually solve the issue. And I tried it out, ran this for 10 hours. Let's take a look inside how it looks. So there's water everywhere. Definitely sometimes happens, it gets quite shallow. And that's usually the worst case, that sometimes it's super rare. There's even no flowing water. So I guess 11 wide would have maybe been better, but it's so rare, it's basically negligible. So I'm going with 12 wide. As in the end, just made really nice shaped square that is 14 by 14. As you can see, only 1 of 2,000 of the kelp plants right now wouldn't be able to grow, completely negligible, and this could be solved by just making it 11 wide. As you can see, some of the water is also, after more than 10 hours, completely intact. So over time, it can also rebuild itself. That's because of the water spreading mechanics. Okay. So all good here. That's the farm I'm gonna go with. It's kind of compact, so that really can't complain here. We got a module every 3 blocks. But this is, I think, super compact for what it does. And I've also been unloading this a couple times already. It seems like that's not a problem. So I can just leave the game. It was the whole point of making this design over a flying machine based one, so we can just leave the game. Even if we had chunk loaders, flying machine design would still break if I leave the game. So I'm not running this on a server. It's literally just a normal single player world for me. In case I close the world, then it's completely shut off. Alright, so this is the whole kelp tower. It's 14 by 14 and 120 blocks high. Produces about 14,500 kelp per hour. Also, what I really like about this design is actually that the items are cleared really quickly. So if a kelp grows there, most time it's immediately pushed to the side and starts falling down. Unlike with the other farm, where sometimes it takes a bit, the item bounces up and down, it takes a while to float up, but here the items are cleared really quickly. So it's also quite lag friendly, because a farm of this size, item lag is definitely one of the main factors. So the shorter the items exist, basically the more lag friendly it gets. Alright, so 14,500 items, definitely no point to build this up to sky limit like the cactus farm. 120 blocks high is enough. Also definitely looks quite expensive here from the side here. Just made out of observers and pistons, but as I said, if you would want to go for something cheap, you would build the flying machine farm and just turn it off. So for me also now at this point, doesn't matter if it costs 3 observers for 1 kelp plant, because I got stone, I got redstone, I got quartz. I can definitely afford this. So no problem at all with the costs. So no point to try how to make this cheaper somehow, because then it would just get less compact, I feel like. Okay, then what I already have is also the smoker array here for the kelp block production. So that's very straightforward. So we just have a chest or two hoppers only that are not covered. Where the kelp is collected, then it gets put in the chest, and we just have a hopper line running across, resupplying the smokers here with kelp. And then here at the bottom, take the dried kelp, put it into the crafting table, and turn it into the dried kelp block, which gets sent up the dropper elevator here, and then just runs over a hopper line, trying to redistribute the dried kelp block to all the smoker arrays. And in the end we make a profit, so about 850 kelp block per hour are left over. So let's check out the material list of this bad boy. So I'm actually not too scared about the almost 6,000 observers. We also need 4,500 mangrove leaves. That's probably also not too bad to farm. Just need to grow a couple trees. So actually for the tiki bar, I had to grow a tree already, and just from that alone I get hundreds of mangrove leaves. So why do you need even the mangrove leaves? Here on the side is definitely for decoration, but inside I need a block that doesn't connect to the wall. Because if the block would connect, then I just would get stuck on this. So that's why the leaves here. Not sure if there's even a better alternative, but leaves can be instant mine. It's actually a really cheap block. So I don't think there's really a better alternative that is as cheap. The melon block work? This also connects. Oh, it doesn't. Melon would be an option. You have a melon farm, yeah, definitely. But I don't have one, so leaves it is for me. So the rest of the material list also isn't too bad. I actually went for 1920 kelp plants. Technically, we only need roughly 1400, but it's good if we made a bit of a profit, because then I can also use the dried kelp blocks for a different furnace array, so we don't spend all the kelp just on smelting the cactus. So that's a good thing. Pistons are affordable. What worries me a little bit is that we have to place down so many water sources here. So I at least need to place down water sources here, so I can place the kelp in, and then here one on the side for the waterlogged stair. And instead of bucketing this, ice is usually the best option. Just place some ice in there and break it. That's usually less effort, but ice is actually a bit of a problem. I'm using so much all the time for all kinds of farms, like the cactus farm. They need water, that I'm always running low. So I guess the first thing we should do in survival now is actually expand our ice farming setup. Eventually we would also like to build some sort of an AFK farm. And back in survival, you can also see the cactus farm from very far away. So this is the ice farming setup I have. I'm just gonna expand it. So I brought blocks. I think I'm just gonna make this longer. I already checked there's more cold biomes towards that direction. I'm just gonna make it larger basically. Definitely one of the upcoming episodes, I already have actually 2 plans for ice farms. It's definitely gonna be a more sophisticated system later, but for now, I'm just gonna place blocks to make this larger. Okay, so I spent quite some time here after extending the platform, harvested all of that ice once, filled my inventory, and waited a bit longer, so next time I come here I can harvest it right away again. Alright, so time to head back. Let's gather the other resources. So next I want to make all the observers and pistons. I already brought over all the quartz for the observers, but yeah, the pistons and the observers will set me back 32,000 cobble. It's actually more than we have right now. But maybe 15,000 there, so only half. So gotta run the cobble farm for about an hour. Already turn it on. Still works great. Okay, then I just need some redstone. I'm gonna go to the villager trading setup. Actually need quite a bit of redstone dust as well. It's like 12,000 almost. No, even more for the pistons as well. Like 14,000 redstone. That might be a bit of an issue. It's only like 3,000 there. Oh my god, yeah, redstone is actually an issue here, so I gotta do a lot of trading. So it's definitely a bit tempting right now, but I definitely don't want to build a raid farm in this playthrough. So I guess at least for this project, this is by far the project I needed the most redstone for. I can get it, it's gonna be quite tedious, but it's definitely doable. And after that, I'm still looking into building that villager to witch conversion redstone farm. We'll eventually do that. Okay, so while the villagers reset their trades, I can already start farming the mangrove leaves. Just need a proper cool there, and already prepared some bone meal. It should make a huge tree again. Yes. Okay. Actually, I'm not gonna use the shears. I always have a hole in my ender chest now. Can ender pearl up there. Ah, this one is a bit bigger. Actually, you don't even need the ender pearls if you have an elevator right next to the setup. Okay, so from the first tree, I already got roughly 4 stacks of leaves. Yeah, so we gotta do this a couple times, but it's not too bad. So it's really good if we get some of those mangrove root blocks. They're pretty nice. So I have a good amount of leaves now. I need about 4,500. We should have a little bit more than that even. Also occurred to me that for farming leaves, the mangrove trees are actually a really good choice. Didn't even think about it really, but like one of those trees gave me 600 leaves. It's crazy. I have a really high amount of leaf blocks. And the best thing is you don't need to worry about getting any saplings back. Like for example, the jungle tree also has a ton of leaves, but in my case I hardly have any jungle saplings, so like half the leaves I would need to decay or use the fortune hoe on. So overall I think the mangrove tree for that is actually one of the best. Right, let's also check how much redstone we have now. About 15 stacks, that's like 8,500 redstone dust. I'm still 5,000 redstone dust short. Did a lot of trading, almost got to level 100 again, but gotta do more. Oh, this is really tedious. So I got up to level 136 with trading, but here's the last couple pistons. There we go. Let's put them in here. So we got all the observers now. And yeah, all the pistons. Alright, also completely used up all the cobble. Nothing left. But it's good, get the farm running, that's why we are making all of those farms, so we can basically make bigger farms. Yeah, it's always been a thing. I actually want to check real quick, because you guys told me that I can actually check inventories in FreeCam, which is super convenient, how much TNT we have left here. So if I press I, there's a tweaker feature, I can check the inventory. Okay, the dispenser's still full, open in the back as well, and in the chest there's still plenty of TNT inside. With one double chest, you can like blow up 1,000,000 blocks. Yeah, that's gonna last a while, but maybe I should actually refill it. So I think I have everything now. Time to start building. Decided to build the kelp tower quite close to the cactus tower. So just 2 chunks over. Already started building. Got 2 layers already. Check it out. So one of those 3 high layers actually takes about 8 to 10 minutes to build. So I'm gonna look at like 6 hours of total build time, but yeah, after building for 11 hours, this sounds really feasible. Okay, so there we go. It's finally finished. We added another skyscraper to our farming area here. Okay, so it's 120 blocks high, not nearly as tall as the cactus farm, but still quite proud of it. Okay, so I already built a little smoker array here on the side. I was collecting some kelp here first that I brought over to the old furnace array, and I got myself a couple of the dried kelp blocks, so we can now start this. So I redirected kelp output already here to the smoker array. Just need to provide some fuel so we can get this started. Okay, I'm gonna just put in a couple stacks here, and then at some point, yeah, it's just gonna feed back the kelp blocks on its own, and then we can redirect it to the cactus farm. It's probably gonna take a while until we actually get there, probably like 2 or 3 hours until we're actually producing stuff here. There's like those hoppers in the back gotta fill up. There's always 5 stacks of kelp blocks for each smoker. It's gonna take a while, but I think the simplicity is more important than trying to make a system now, so we kind of saved the first like 2 hours of running it. It's not like those kelp blocks are lost. In case I really need them, I can always take them out of the hoppers here. Alright, now we have cactus and fuel. Time to combine it all in a furnace array to get the XP. So I'm gonna build the furnace array over here. And the idea is that I'm gonna have actually 2 furnace arrays. So we need 36 in order to deal with all of the cactus, but I'm gonna go for 72. So there will be a left side and a right side. So the idea is that we fill up one side with XP first, just by running the furnaces for a couple hours. Then we lock all of the hoppers and redirect the cactus to the other furnace array. Why locking all of the hoppers? Because you need to take out the items in order to get the XP. But it's okay, we're just gonna lock one side completely after a couple hours, and then everything goes to the other side, and we're gonna continue making XP just in the other side. Right, so I already have a design for this furnace array. Already have the materials as well, except one thing. I'm actually gonna use some raw iron block as a decoration. So we still can use this recipe here in the smithing table. This actually changed in a newer version of the Carpet Sky Editions mod. I'm gonna update to that soon, but for now, yeah, I can still use this. In the new version, I think you need to combine it in the crafting table again, and then also this lapis recipe got nerfed, so you can no longer abuse this to get more lapis by crafting ores. Okay, so we need couple stacks of ores, and then I already got my fortune pickaxe. Gonna fortune that in order to get the raw iron, I think. There we go. And that can be combined in a normal crafting table into the raw iron block, all for decoration. Of course, we're gonna use dual wheeling to make the ore mining a bit more convenient. Technically, we could also send it towards the blast chamber, but then we would miss out on the fortune effect. So mining it manually is definitely worth it. Alright, here we go. Now we have the furnace array. There's also now water stream sending cactus to it. This is the switch. You can toggle between the two sides. Right now all the cactus is sent to the left. And here you can toggle it. How does this work? We just have a piston up there. So in case the left side is selected, we push in a glass block. And the hoppers are not locked. In case if I toggle this, then the hoppers here are locked and we pull back the glass block. And then the cactus is sent over to the other side. Yeah, in the back I already hooked up the output of the kelp block farm But it's gonna take a while until, yeah, all the hoppers are filled, as I said earlier. Then those, yeah, hoppers will be supplied off the furnace array. So I guess it's actually just a couple hours of waiting until we start producing. I could already maybe fill in some of the furnaces manually, but there's really no hurry, I feel like. So I've been AFKing here for quite some time, and the items are still trickling, but over half the furnace is already lit. So there's good progress. If you check in the back, just takes some time for the, yeah, all the hoppers to fill. But eventually we'll reach the end, and then the rest of the kelp blocks goes into that little storage here on the side. Okay, we can also quickly try this out. It hasn't been running for too long. I'm gonna lock this, yeah, hopper below real quick. And then we can take out the cactus screen. Got 147 levels right now. See? Got 149 now. So in case this runs for a while, instant XP, yeah, can't go better than this really. So this is really in case we need to repair something real quick or we gotta do a ton of enchanting. We have this readily available and don't need to rely on villager trading or whatnot. So this is just nice to have this on the side. One more thing, of course, the setup produces an insane amount of cactus screen over time. We have a little bit of storage, one double chest on each side that would fill up. Could even add more if I wanted to, but eventually everything would overflow, and that's why we got the overflow protection here. We dispense of the cactus screen into the lava cauldron below. Okay, so this I think was a really nice project. XP readily available, like 12,500 XP per hour without lifting a finger really. We just need to be close to it, so the random ticks cause the plants to grow. Okay, then I'd say that's it for today. Next episode, I got a lot of plans, still need to make the dye farms. There's so much right now I could work on, but I really want to go to the end. So I was thinking maybe we could build the ghast farm, and then maybe try to defeat the ender dragon. I think that would be a good idea. Okay, thanks guys for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye bye.